if you're a Democrat, you can't just win.
This city belongs to you.
You got to make sure everyone agrees with you and sounds exactly like you on every topic.
Thank you.
Van Jones is getting crucified right now by Toure, Charlamagne Tha God, Mehdi Hassan, and many other liberals and progressives and Democrats. Why? Because he had the temerity to criticize Zohran Mamdani. He said Zohran sounded different. Well, look, in this video, we're going to look at, did he really sound different? Is Van Jones making any sense? But we're also going to focus on the thing none of those people focused on when it came to Zohran's speech. And I'm going to tackle it. Why? Because this is the most dangerous politics show in America. Let's start off with Van Jones.
But I think he missed an opportunity. I think the Mamdani that we saw on the campaign trail, who was a lot more calm, who was a lot warmer, who was a lot more embracing, was not present in that speech. And I think that Mamdani is the one you need to hear from tonight. There are a lot of people trying to figure out, can I get on this train with him or not? Is he going to include me? Is he going to be more of a class warrior even in office? I think he missed a chance tonight to open up and bring more people into the tent. I think his tone was sharp. I think he was using the microphone in a way that he was almost yelling. And that's not the Mamdani that we've seen on TikTok and the great interviews and stuff like that. So I felt like there's a little bit of a character switch here where the warm, open, embracing guy that's close to working people was not on stage tonight, and there was some other voice on stage. That said, he's very young, and he just pulled off something that's very, very difficult. And I wouldn't write him off, but I think he missed an opportunity to open himself up tonight, and I think that will probably cost him going.
I saw his criticism, and I said, you know, people are criticizing Van for his criticism of Mamdani. And I'm like, I saw it was mostly haters. You know, people that really don't like Van Jones, like Mehdi Hassan, he doesn't like Van Jones. And Charlamagne he just does whatever. He's an opportunist too. So that's kind of like the opportunity to kick Van. Because they disagree with him, you know, and whatever, you know. It's like there's a line, you got to stay on the D.L. Hughley line. You know, the D.L. Hughley, Kamala Harris is good, actually talented line. I mean, the fact that Mehdi Hassan could ever tell the truth about Kamala Harris's total disastrous campaign says everything. You know what I'm saying? Him, Toure, all these people are bogus. So I took the opinions of Van Jones' criticism of Mamdani, which was not that damning. He just said, hey, he didn't have the right tone. He didn't sound the same. So I went back and I said, okay, let's take a look at his tone. Let's look and see if we can detect whatever this is Van Jones thinks is present.
Political darkness, New York will be the light. Here, we believe in standing up for those we love. Whether you are an immigrant, a member of the trans community, one of the many black women that Donald Trump has fired from a federal job, a single mom still waiting for the cost of groceries to go down, or anyone else with their back against the wall.
Charlamagne told Van Jones to shut the F up. And this is all because of a take that Van Jones had on Mamdani, the new mayor of New York. He stated that he's character switching.
Van, shut the F up forever. Okay?
Damn.
There was no opportunity missed. The man just won. And he deserved to take a victory lap.
Now, we have Democrats having character switch, right? But then he goes on to try to police his tone, which I agree. Donald Trump changed the climate for politics. That's what Charlamagne was saying. Like, you can't tone police people no more. That era is ended, right? No one knows what part of the speech that Van Jones was talking about where Mamdani was being divisive. But one part of the speech that stood out to me is when he said that New York City was built by immigrants when it was built by Black Americans, enslaved Black Americans and freedmen who built New York City.
New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants. And as of tonight, led by an immigrant.
The immigrants arrived after the city was already developed. The immigrants arrived after this country was already developed. That's the only part I had a problem with the speech. But yeah, Charlamagne said he's the donkey of the day. Let me know what y'all think, because no one knows what part of the speech.
I think y'all giving Charlamagne way too much credit on this. Listen, there's different speeches, there's different tones for different speeches. I had a clip of Mamdani, one of his social media commercials, right?
This Sunday, to enter the history books. Just not at the marathon, because my 12-minute, 54-second mile is... We're gonna do it at the doors. The current record for the most doors knocked in a single day in New York history was 200,000. That wasn't by one campaign. It was by every campaign up and down the ballot across the entirety of the state. We want to shatter that record.
Those social media commercials are totally different, in a totally different tone, right? He's trying to win over voters. You can't compare a guy running for an office, how he's talking in a canned video, to how he talks after winning a fucking election.
I will be your Democratic nominee for the mayor of New York City. We have won from Harlem to Bay Ridge, from Jackson Heights to Port Richmond. We have won because New Yorkers have stood up for a city they can afford.
Neither Van Jones or Charlamagne or this guy, no diss, they didn't watch any of Mamdani's rallies, because in his rallies, he always pumped up the audience.
Good evening, New York City! To stop listening to those experts and to start listening to you. We went to two of the places that saw the biggest swings to the right, Fordham Road and Hillside Avenue. These New Yorkers were far from the caricature of Trump voters. They told us they supported Donald Trump because they felt disconnected from a Democratic Party that had grown comfortable with mediocrity and gave its time only to those who gave millions. They told us that they felt abandoned by a party beholden to corporations, which asked them for their votes after telling them only what it was against, rather than presenting a vision of what it was for. They told us they didn't believe in a system anymore that did not even pretend to offer solutions to the defining challenge of their lives, the cost of living crisis.
He talked this shit in the audience when he was running. He wasn't nice about fighting corruption. He wasn't nice talking about building the supermarkets. He wasn't nice about taxing the rich. He said that shit with his chest. That's why people liked him. What you thought, he just niced his way? He just niced his way into people? No. At the rallies, he was fired up. He was aggressive. He was assertive. He was standing 10 toes down. He sounded convinced. He sounded sure of himself. Just like he did after he won. And I really see no daylight between his rally speeches and the final speech he gave. His final form, he was already in that when he was doing those rallies. I don't even know what all this conversation was about, fam. The guy beat Cuomo twice. He'd already won when he won the primary. In New York, if you win the primary, 99% of the time, that person, if you're a Democrat, you become the guy. That's it. Over. Case closed. Face closed. And it was the same guy running, who you just beat, who just left office 5 years ago in disgrace after killing 15,000 seniors in assaulting or being Italian to about 15 women. Andrew Cuomo was so bad, he got his brother fired. That's how bad a job Andrew Cuomo did. Andrew Cuomo did such a bad job, he got his little brother fired from his job, just trying to help him. You know, what bothers me most about Charlamagne and Van Jones and Mehdi Hassan's critique of Mamdani, which most of the parts, Van totally missed it. He criticized the wrong shit. Charlamagne was big to say that Mamdani didn't have any problems with Mamdani's speech. I mean, he mentioned black people. He mentioned black women's jobs. He didn't say anything about black men. He didn't say anything about black families. And then he slighted us by saying The immigrants built New York. Okay, now, hey, man. So, but that's the thing. That's really what it is. You know what I'm saying? He feels pride about his people. He feels pride about what he's doing and about his position now and all that stuff. And I guess there's nothing, I really don't think there's anything wrong with it. But the people that cannot call it out and not even mention it, it seems a little strange. I mean, it's not like if it was true, it's true. But if it's not true, it's okay to correct that. It's not just okay. I think it is a responsibility of black commentators or commentators in general. It don't even got to be a black commentator to call a thing, to point out an inaccuracy in a speech. That was a factually incorrect statement. And I can't even you could get Mehdi Hassan to go after Van Jones for tone, but neither one of y'all motherfuckers could call him out for being inaccurate? Really? Okay, so what's worse, Van Jones, tone policing, and you guys omitting facts, because that's your guy. Charlamagne just wants to keep being able to grow his brand and build up his company. I just feel like if it wasn't for the guests that they get on the Breakfast Club, what Breakfast Club? What are we talking about? A lot of enslaved black Americans were in New York. Some people had this idea that slavery was only in the South. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Nice that you can do Wu-Tang with Jamal Bowman, but it's not so cool when you get our history fucked up. So was Van Jones' criticism warranted? You can make any criticism you want, doesn't mean it makes any sense. No, he was wrong. Zohran was spirited, and he was pumped up, and that's what you're supposed to do when you win a race. Talk about what you're gonna get done. That's not a problem. The problem is Zohran was totally wrong when he said that immigrants built New York. Freedmen and the descendants of slaves or the enslaved built New York. That's who built it. You would want to put some respect on our name, Zohran, and that goes to him and those commentators who are busy fighting to support him at the expense of facts when it comes to black America. I also got to correct myself. In this video, I said that black Americans, 56% of black American men voted for Zohran. And you know what? I don't know if that's true because we got so many immigrants in New York City checking all types of boxes. Who knows if they checked other, if they checked black? Who knows? We really don't know. When I looked at the rallies for Zohran, when I looked at the Mamdani rallies, I did not see a lot of us. That doesn't mean we didn't end up voting for him. But it does mean if we did, you damn sure should have got our history right. And if you didn't, and if we didn't vote for you, you still should have got our history right. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. I'm disappointed in Mehdi Hassan, Touré, and Charlamagne, and Van Jones. I'm disappointed in all of them. Why? Because I'm advocating for black Americans. And none of those people, none of them stood on business. Thank God there's a Tim Black show. And thank God we're the most dangerous night show in politics. Wolfpack. To join us, go to jointimblack.com. Become a member starting at only $5 a month. Go to jointimblack.com. Peace.
The Tim Black Show streams Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wolfpack.